Welcome to CS 1401 Video 8.1, Conditional Statements, and in this video we'll look at conditional statements involving if. In the next video, Video 8.2, I'll look at conditional statements involving switch. Now that we know how to write and evaluate logical expressions, we're ready to tackle, both in pseudocode and in Java, writing statements that help us control how a program runs. That is it going to do one thing or another thing? Conditional statements. Let's start with the example of figuring out which celebrity is more viral in terms of retweets. In other words, is Beyonce retweeted more per minute than Kim Kardashian? And what I want to do is take the name of each celebrity, the number of minutes we're evaluating, and the number of retweets during those minutes, and return the name of the viral champion. So here's the pseudocode algorithm, and we'll call it more viral. And what it's going to do is take person A, the minutes that we're evaluating for that person, the number of retweets they had during those minutes, person B, the minutes that we're evaluating person B for, and the retweets for person B. And then what we're going to do is, if the number of retweets per minute for person A are greater than the number of retweets per minute for person B, then we'll return person A. Else, if the number of retweets for person A per minute are less than those for person B, then person B is our champ and we'll return person B. And if neither of those conditions is true, then they must have tied, so we'll return tie. Let's try evaluating this in Java. So I'll compile Twitter champ, and then because I've set up my program to take arguments from the command line, I'll try Twitter champ of Beyonce with 6 minutes and 20,000 retweets, and Kim Kardashian with 4 minutes and 14,000 tweets, and there's our champ. Here's the program that implemented this algorithm. So as we saw in the previous video, we're going to be taking our arguments from the command line as arg sub 0, arg sub 1, and so forth. So the first argument we know will be person A, and that's just a string, so I don't have to convert it. I can just directly assign whatever arg 0 is to the string variable person A. Now the next two variables are the minutes for A and the retweets for A, and they're integers, so like I did in the previous video, I'll convert that string argument for each into an integer. And then the same thing works for person B and person B's minutes and person B's retweets. Now we come to the heart of this part of the lesson, namely the conditional expression. And in Java, conditionals are expressed by the keyword if. So what I'll say is that if the retweets for A divided by the minutes for A are greater than the retweets for B divided by the minutes for B, then I'll print out person A wins. Else, in other words, if that isn't true and I don't print out person A wins, then I'll see if the retweets per minute for A are less than the retweets for per minute for B, then we know person B is the winner and we'll print out person B wins. Else, if neither of those is true, then we'll print out it's a tie. Next, let's consider the problem of evaluating the cards in a poker hand. So a poker hand has 5 cards. Could be the 5 of spades, the 8 of spades, the 4 of diamonds, the 10 of spades, and the 3 of hearts. Which card of these is the highest? Well, let's work toward an algorithm called highest card, which takes 5 cards as arguments, and I'm going to start with 0 again for my numbering them, just like the arguments. So we'll have card 0, card 1 through card 4, 5 cards in all. And at the end of my algorithm, I'll want to return the highest card. Here's my pseudocode algorithm for doing that. So the first thing we'll do is take card 0 and put it in a variable called the highest card. Because it's possible that card 0 might be the highest card, and as long as no other card is higher, card 0 will be the highest card. So let's check to see if the other cards might be higher. Well, if card 1 is higher than the highest card, then card 1 will be our new highest card. If card 2 is higher than the current highest card, which could be either card 1 or card 0, then card 2 is the highest card, and so forth, all the way through the 5th card, which we call card 4. And now that we've checked to see which is the highest card, we can return that value, or in this case, print it out. That's the algorithm for finding the highest card in a poker hand. Let's see how this algorithm would work with an example hand. So let's say we have cards with values 5, 8, 4, 10, and 3. Our algorithm takes the first card, which is called card 0, and we'll take that one as the highest card for the time being. So we'll put it over here designated in the variable the highest card. And 5 is the value of the highest card we've looked at so far. Let's compare the value of the highest card, which is card 0, to the value of card 1. 8 is greater than 5, so 5 is no longer the highest card, and we'll move the 8 over into the variable for the highest card. Let's next look at card 2, and we'll compare the 8 and the 4. 4 is less than 8, so 8 is still the highest card. Next, we compare our current highest card with card 3. Now, card 3 has a value of 10, which is greater than 8, so we'll now assign the value 10 to the variable the highest card, and that is currently the highest card we've seen so far. Finally, we'll compare the current highest card with card 4. 3 is less than 10, so our current highest card still is the highest card. And of all 5 cards we've looked at, from card 0 through card 4, the 10 is the highest card. So that's the card that we'll return. Here's the Java program that I wrote to implement the highest card algorithm. Again, the arguments are going to be these string variables, and I'll have to make them integers. So the first thing I'll do is put what effectively is card 0, that is the argument number 0, into the highest card. And then I'll put each of the subsequent cards into variables with appropriate names. So card 0 was our highest card, and then I've got 4 cards left, and I'll fill those with the remaining arguments. The next thing to do is see if card 1 is higher than card 0, which is the current value of the highest card. And if that's the case, then the highest card will be card 1. Otherwise, it stays card 0. And I do the same thing for cards 2, 3, and 4, and by the time I get to card 4, I've evaluated all 5 cards, and I can print out that whatever value is in the highest card is in fact the highest card. Let's try out the implementation of the highest card program. I'll compile it, and then I'll enter highest card with our sample hand, 5, 8, 4, 10, 3. I run the program, and it reports that the highest card correctly is the 10. Another thing we might do to look at how ifs work is to try to assign grades for exam scores. In other words, if you make a 73, then you get a C. If you make a 95, then you get an A, and so forth. So here's my algorithm. I'll call it assign exam grade, and it takes a variable called test score as an argument. My algorithm is pretty standard. It says if the test score is greater than or equal to 90, then we'll put the character A in the variable grade. Otherwise, that is, if the score is less than 90, we'll see if the score is greater than or equal to 80, in which case we'll put B in grade. Else, if the test score is greater than or equal to 70, then the grade will be C. Or else, if the test score is greater than or equal to 60, then the grade will be D. And our default case is that the grade is F if they scored less than 60. And then we'll return the grade. So let me compile the Java program I wrote for assign exam grade. And again, my Java program was written so that it takes arguments from the command line. Let's try running it with the score of 83. And sure enough, it correctly prints out that the grade is B. Let's take a look at the Java program I just ran. So it's only going to have one argument, which we know will be arg sub 0, but because it's going to be an integer variable value, I need to do integer.parseInt, and I'll assign it to the integer variable exam score. I'll also need another variable, this time of type character, called grade, and that's what we'll put the grade appropriate for the score into. We have a set of ifs and elses. So if the exam score is greater than or equal to 90, then the grade is A. Else, if the exam score is greater than or equal to 80, the grade is B, and so forth, until finally, if the grade is not equal to or greater than 60, the grade will be F. And then we'll print out the grade equals and the character that corresponds to the grade. So that's how to do conditional statements involving if, both in pseudocode and in Java. In the next video, I'll look at conditional statements with switch as the operative element. See you shortly.